Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Solar Academy session. Today we have John Davis of Solare Energy with us, and we'll go into a typical San Diego homes solar transaction. We will dissect a solar proposal and a solar production report and show homeowners what they are to expect when they are purchasing a solar system for their home, and how that conversation goes and what kind of information they will be exposed to and how to think about it. So John, thank you very much for coming on board, and thank you for sharing with me these couple of sample production reports, as well as the proposal. Let me share my screen. So, so John, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here in this annual production report, which I know as a solar industry insider is a helioscope report, which is one of the standard software tools out there to produce this kind of production estimate, as well as design layout. What parts of this presentation is usually most interesting for customers, and what should they be paying attention to? I'm looking at.
Well, I guess, yeah, totally. Well, probably the most useful part of this is it's both a visual aid to allow us, the solar contractor and consumer, to get a visual with regards to where the panels will go on his roof, as well as to estimate the production. So if we look at this screen, that we're kind of the top part of the page that we're looking at now, the first thing that I'd like to mention is the weather data set and the simulator version, because what these proposals and what these documents do is they essentially use 30 years of normalized weather station data to generate our output report numbers. So that's how the backbone of this data is generated. We're looking at both our location, the roof, the tilt, if there's trees or chimneys, and then we overlay that with the local weather conditions to generate how much will these solar systems produce in a year over their lifetime. So that's really why all these are standardized, is because all these software solutions use that same data set. Yep. So we'll stop right here at this screen here. And this is pretty much the meat and potatoes of it, where the bars that are highlighted in pink, that's telling us, scroll down just a little bit. Yep, that's showing us our monthly output. So we can use this as a benchmark to, as we are going throughout the year, we can use this to compare against what our solar system is actually doing. So if our solar system in year 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 is not producing with relative to this bell curve of performance here, that's a good indicator that there may be something going on with the system. So this is, just a good thermometer to have in case you have any questions about the production of your solar system in the future. And to the right of that is just a little pie chart, and it shows that on this particular roof, given the site-specific conditions, we assume that there's going to be a little bit of soiling, so that's the roof is going to get dirty and bird poops and all of the above. Their temperature, so in the hot summertime, different panels will react differently to temperature. So we do assume that there will be an impact from temperature and all the other components within there, whether it's the wiring or the inverters. So that's how we pull all the equipment data, the local weather station data, and site-specific to generate these numbers here, which are your output. So these numbers are essentially the numbers that when we look at your solar system, you're going to have a 25-year output guarantee from a manufacturer. And the manufacturer is going to say that as long as this thing has been wired up and installed properly, then this system, as it's set up on your roof, is going to be generating, in this case, it's 11,301 kilowatt hours to the grid. So that's really the number that we use when we generate a proposal. We assume what's the minimum this thing that is going to generate given the site-specific conditions, and that's how we estimate the output, and we use these numbers to design our savings in solar systems.
Got it. And in this case, you are using 19 LG 350 modules, modules meaning panels, and you're using SolarEdge inverters.
Correct.
And the system size is, I think it was 6.6 kilowatt here. And the annual production is 11.3 million kilowatt hours, or in other words, 11.3 million, 11.3 megawatt hours, which means 11,300 kilowatt hours.
Correct.
Got it. Anything else that is worth noting? I guess the design and where you're planning to put these 19 panels. And I guess that's nice to show the customer before installing it. And I guess.
And it also helps us to know that if we design a system that it's going to meet the fire code requirements. So on these roofs, we do have to have a certain setback from the sides, the top, and any valleys. So these designs will also help us to know that when we design a solar system, that we will legally meet the design requirements.
And these software tools can get specific enough to measure exactly what that distance is. And
yeah, they're actually within 4 to 5 inches accuracy. So really accurate, sometimes even closer.
Great, got it. Okay, switching over to your proposal now for the same system with 19 Panasonic panels and SolarEdge inverters and online monitoring with a 25-year equipment warranty. Let's look at what you're sharing here. Let me maybe tell you what I understand a little bit, and then you can feel free to add commentary and also things. So basically, this customer is paying $250 on average per month for their electric bill. And what you're saying is after solar, they will be paying only $12. And so where do we see that? Okay, where do we see the details of this customer's consumption? I guess you looked at their electric bill, which we could also pull up, but I'm going to leave that to the side for now. I'm assuming somewhere in this proposal, you're showing the annual production of the system. Would that be here?
Up. Go up the previous slide.
On the previous slide.
So there it is in the center.
Oh, yeah, there it is. So you actually assumed a slightly lower 10,400 kilowatt hour number as opposed to what the software said.
Right.
And the customer is using they're consuming 9,000 kilowatt hours. Why do you overestimate a little bit? Is it just to be on the safe side, or is it to give an option for electric vehicles in the future, or something else?
Yeah, I think it's 2 things. One, if there's no battery, we have to oversize it to make up for the summertime deficit where we sell energy at 28 cents and buy it back at 42 to 58 cents. So we oversize it to make up for that deleveraged sale that we have in the summertime. And this particular person also was going to use a little bit more. So usually it's 7 to 10% that we need to oversize to make up for that loss on the billing. But this person wanted just a little bit more to have.
Got it. And then the total system price, as shown here, is $20,000, which is just around $3 per watt. Makes sense. And then the customer is getting a $5,000 federal tax credit, so the net cost to the customer is $15,000. And yep, that is, I guess, standard. And then I guess looking at this $15,000 cost is going to offset an annual electric bill of 250 times 12, which is $3,000. So essentially, a 5-year payback, if not faster, because San Diego Gas and Electric will likely increase electricity prices over the next 5 years. So yeah, basically a 5-year payback. What other questions do you get at this stage of presenting this proposal?
Yeah, so after we go into the pricing, then a lot of it is warranties and install. How's it installed? Who has the warranty? Is there a warranty? How long does it take?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Can you maybe talk a little bit about the typical warranty questions and how you answer that?
Yeah, so one of the most common answers is, do you guarantee the output? Is this all guaranteed? And so that's when I do divert to the helioscope and I show them how we got to those numbers and how the warranties of output are held by the manufacturer. And what we do is we generate the expected performance numbers. And so that's really the basis of, the warranty is if we effectively design the system, then we should actually have, we should have a little bit of wiggle room from what you actually are minimum guaranteed and what we even promise here. And then I just kind of go into what we do guarantee, which is, all the workmanship. So any customer service, obviously for 25 years, if you have any questions about the monitoring, your bill is high and you want to know what's going on, then you call us and we will walk through either the system and your bill to get you those answers. And if it's you need to add more panels or you need to use less energy, or C, we have a warranty issue or a service need, all those are covered under our 25-year sort of workmanship and customer service. So I let them know that that's kind of how things are handled, is that if there is a output issue, then first you call us. We will make sure that the system is producing and performing like it should. If it is, then we can figure out why your bill is high or what happened to cause your bill to go up. If the system isn't performing well, then that's when we will roll a truck. And if the fault is ours, i.e. a wiring issue or some sort of connectivity issue with the system, then obviously then we pay for that. However, if there's inverter bad, a panel failed, or an optimizer that's gone out, well, that's covered by the manufacturer, and that's also for free. So, so shouldn't be too many expected payments or costs along the way, but the warranties are held kind of in two spots for that. And then Panasonic, as you know or you may have heard, they do have a little bit of a better warranty in that they offer their enhanced warranty. If your contractor goes out of business and they are a preferred or authorized Panasonic installer, then Panasonic will own that warranty for the full 25 years. And if something happens, they'll pay for the parts, the labor, and the shipping, and pay the contractor and market to take care of you. So Panasonic's got a little bit more skin in the game in the warranty.
And I assume as one of the oldest installers in San Diego that's been operating for longer than a decade, you qualify for that type of installer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, so I think because of that warranty offering, I've become more in favor of Panasonic, just because, there's so many solar companies that have come and gone that I think it's really good value to be able to provide a customer that, hey, even if I'm not your guy in 10 years from now, Panasonic, who will be around, has got your back too. So.
What percent of the deals do you think get any issues with wiring, or I mean, what are some of the common causes of issues after a solar install?
For solar, there's very few issues with solar these days because it's, our guys have done it so many millions of times, and the equipment has become pretty standardized. I think most of the challenges now, if we look at an install standpoint, a lot of it now is just because it's so new and it's much more complicated, is the battery installations, where something as simple as the little current transducers, little CTs that measure the current flow through wires, they're little clamps that you clamp around a wire. If you put them on upside down, it will screw the whole system up, and they aren't labeled real clearly on which is up, which is down.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all kinds of other potential grounding issues
Mm-hmm.
with the battery, since there's so much more backfeed going through that.
Mm-hmm.
Battery wiring that had some challenges with it, where I know that 3 years ago when we first started installing power walls, that there were 2 or 3 homes that we still don't know what had happened. We hired electrical, inspectors to look, but somehow, the battery discharged and shorted, and we burnt like a wine cooler, a computer, weird stuff. So those were things that happened early on, but I think a lot of that's just because when you introduce a new technology and it's really complicated, that can happen.
Yeah.
But those don't really happen so much anymore. But those are, I remember, the headaches and heartaches that we've had recently with regards to things. But solar is pretty. Yeah, I've heard anything happening with solar. What can happen with solar is that you can get a panel or an inverter, and it, as you know, just won't work from the manufacturer. So, um, that has happened, but not too much. It's pretty rare.
Yeah. And it's really cool that you guys show here the payback or the actual kilowatt hour rates, whether you purchase this system or how you finance this system, whether you pay cash for it or you do a loan from a credit union or some other sort of solar loan, I guess, or PACE financing, which is a unique way of financing solar as well, and or just stay on SDG&E today or for the next 25 years. This is really cool. And I guess the way you calculate this 6 cents, and that was pretty close to my own economics when I put solar about 4 years ago on my former home in San Diego, is basically you take the full amount and then divide it into all the kilowatt hours you will produce over the next 20 years or 25, and then you get to that 6 cents.
Yeah, so in those numbers there, we we use the minimum guarantee from the manufacturers, kind of that output expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, makes sense. And that is really amazing, because essentially this customer will be paying almost 1/5 of what he's or she is currently paying with his electric bill, because they're using 9,000 kilowatt hours a year and paying $3,000 for that, which is just around, as you've shown here, just around, somewhere around 30 cents per kilowatt hour. And that 30 cents is going to go down to more like 6 cents if they were to buy the system cash. Or if they finance it, it'll be more like 9 cents. Still an amazing savings. Got it. John, thank you for all this detail. Let's do another one of these talking about batteries soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We can also dive into the finance, since there are some details in financing that it's important for homeowners to know the difference between loans, because some are better for other homeowners than others. Not one loan is the best. There may be a PACE loan option that's better for some homeowners. There may be a long-term or short-term finance that's better for others. So that might be something we want to talk about too.
How about leases? Is there any use cases where leases or PPAs, power purchase agreements?
Sure. I think probably the most compelling and the most the most common use for PPA or lease is typically in our commercial sectors, where a business doesn't want to buy a solar system because they want to spend their money building their business. But what they want to do is they want to spend less money for energy, and a lease or PPA is that formulation. Most homeowners will opt for the ownership through purchase, just because the benefit of the tax credit. And when you sell your home, you're going to recoup that on the sale. So a little bit of a different calculation goes into homes, but they're
one thing I was thinking was maybe elder couples or people who don't have that much active income and therefore not paying that much taxes, and they don't have that much to offset.
You know, and normally I would say yes, but one thing that kind of tips it out of favor is with a lease or PPA, typically there are 20 to 25 year commitment to payments. And if you look at the total payments over that 25 years, it could be 2 or 3 times more than the cash price, even if you didn't take the tax credit.
Right.
So I think it's a good cash management sort of strategy. But if you want to look at it as far as the lowest cost, and if you can't take the tax credit, I would still say that consider taking a loan out and foregoing the tax credit may still be a lower cost option.
Agreed. Got it. John, thank you very much for all of this information, and we will do another one of these soon.
Great.
All right.